Hi, I'm Luis Garcia, and I wanted to make this video because there are two important questions that I always get asked in my seminars and workshops that I think that you can relate to, and I wanted to help by answering them. The two questions are, how can I stop feeling empty and incapable within myself? And how do I stop the need to seek validation from others and become self-empowered? These are profound questions that, in all honesty, not many people find real answers to, and that is why so many people are still struggling with this sabotaging behavior. As a result of this not being clear, I've decided to create this very short video to answer these two questions and to bring clarity on how to transform these sabotaging behaviors and for you to begin to live an empowered life, so stay tuned. No. Hi and welcome back. I'm Luis Garcia and I'm an author, public speaker, entrepreneur, thought leader, and I'm an educator on the topic of personal development, self-help, business, and spirituality. And what I do is that I help people like yourself master your own psychology and put your game into perspective so that you can be equipped to cultivate healthy relationships, financially succeed, and fulfill your life purpose. So, on with today's topic, which is, how can I stop feeling empty within myself? And how do I stop the need to seek validation from others and become self-empowered? Well, first, it starts with you discovering your natural talents, gifts, and creative abilities. What are your natural creative abilities? Your innate creative abilities are determined and measured by evolution. Now, what do I mean by that? For example, let's look at the animal that is known as the chameleon. We all know that the chameleon can camouflage itself by changing its pigmentation. This act of changing its pigmentation is happening naturally for the chameleon. It's an ability that stems from its DNA. In other words, evolution, or life for that matter, has given it the gift to change its pigmentation, which is an innate creative ability. Another example is when we humans digest our food. We really don't have to concentrate on that. Our organs naturally digest our foods. That automatic digestive mechanism is a built-in creative ability that evolution has given onto us. So an ability comes from evolution. It's innate. It's biological. It comes from our makeup in order for us to function. It's also the place where our individual, unique wisdom, passion, value, and love for ourselves come from. In other words, we are born with these abilities, and that defines natural or inherent. However, for some, our inherent creative abilities are suppressed, and because of that, one has to go on a journey to discover these hidden creative abilities. This is what personal development and soul searching is all about for the most part, which is discovering the creative potential that lies within us and learn how to express and perform them. Now, talent takes a different course in one's creative expression. Talents are the things in which we use as tools to help us express the creative biological inherent ability. For example, your ability to express yourself and sing is inherent as your vocal cords can naturally sing. The guitar is the tool that you use to help express your inherent creative ability, which is singing. The playing of the guitar is the talent, while singing is the biological inherent ability. The guitar is externally learned while singing is biological, which creates the split in the two. Then, of course, the gift is the way in which how you give or share your creative abilities and talents with others. When these three power points are in alignment and are acting as a complementary system, you will be empowered to express yourself freely and increase the successes in your life as you capitalize on your creative abilities and talents. When your conscious mind cannot register your inherent creative abilities and talents, you will feel powerless and incapable in yourself, and you will lack the ability to truly give to others and to yourself. This is what causes you to feel not good enough and doubtful about yourself, which also results into low self-esteem for the simple fact that you are lacking internal creative power. You got no creative power, and the feeling of not good enough is confirming it. This is the definitive split that determines whether you will feel insecure about yourself or confident and secure of yourself. You see, it's your inherent creative abilities that determines your ability to feel empowered. When your inherent creative abilities are developed, You will feel fulfilled with yourself, competent, capable, and joyful to express your creative natural exuberance and spatial intelligence. It's your creative abilities that acts as the foundation that produces the sense of true personal power and a healthy self-esteem. However, the opposite is just as true. When your inherent creative abilities are not developed, or if you are unaware of them, this is where you will feel empty from the inside out for the simple fact that you can't register or access any of your creative abilities. Your mojo can't back you up, so to speak. Think of it like this. Imagine a dark room. Now imagine a candle that is lit in this dark room. The candle represents the power of your creative abilities that illuminates your way. This light delivers the information that determines your creative abilities that gives life to your personality and makes you, well, you. This candle light represents the source of your creativity, which is creative input that is forever giving you creative power so that you can perform in the world and succeed. Every time you perform your creative abilities in the world, you get to witness and experience your creative genius, and this will always excite you about you. This excitement inspires you and makes you feel empowered and alive, making you feel capable and confident about what you can do. This is where the feeling of good enough and feeling confident comes from. Now, imagine that there is no candle lit in this dark room. Your creative power is off. What you get is a dark room. You don't get to receive creative input from your creative source. This darkness represents the emptiness that also leads to feeling powerless, incapable, not good enough, and doubtful about yourself, which also manifests as low self-esteem. Your light and the source of your creative power is not there, and this creates the feeling of emptiness and loneliness. At this point, one can say that the feeling of emptiness and loneliness is the constant reminder that you haven't accessed your true creative authentic self. You see, this emptiness is created when you can't access your inherent creative powers, which is your authentic original creative sense of self. Nothing is there to work with or to live from. The creative vessel is empty. No one is creatively home, and when I mean no one, I mean the sense of self, the source of your originality, which is creative power. Now, whether we access our creative ability or not, we are all wired to desire connection and a sense of love. When we are accessing our creative self, which is where we access our originality, it is from this place that we grow to love ourselves because we wow ourselves from what we can do creatively. How so and why, you ask? Because when you express and perform your creative abilities in the world, you get to witness and experience your creative genius, and this will always excite you about you. This excitement inspires you and makes you feel empowered and alive, and this leads to loving yourself. The act of loving yourself is possible because your creative abilities gives you the reference point to understand what to love about yourself, and the opportunity for you to experience your greatness in the form of creative power. You have to understand that when you are disconnected from your creative abilities, you don't have a reference point to know where or what to love from within yourself, and therefore cannot get a sense of love from yourself. You will still desire a sense of love, but you just don't know how to access that inside yourself. So by default, you look outward and you seek love from others in hope that you fill the emptiness inside you. But this love you seek exists outside of yourself as you pull the sense of love from others. This pulling of love that you seek outwardly is what translates into seeking validation from others. While seeking validation from others, you are also by default seeking to fit in and to be liked. To succeed in this, you automatically have to conform to other people's rules of you in exchange for the loss of your original creative self. This behavior is a byproduct of the emptiness. How so? The first thing you have to understand is that biologically we have been designed by nature to naturally feel loved and empowered. It's like a built-in microchip inside of us that by default we want and need to feel loved and empowered. We also have been designed to sustain the experience of self-love and empowerment when accessing the original authentic creative self. When disconnected to your original authentic creative self, by default, like a computer, The human psyche seeks to fill in the gaps. In your innocent attempts to fill in the gaps, you have nowhere else to go but to try to define a sense of love and empowerment externally speaking if you don't know how to do it from inside yourself. You only have two ways of doing this, internally or externally. If you are doing this externally while being disconnected to your creative abilities, this is when you go out of your way to seek validation from others, hoping that other people will make you feel special so that you can feel good about yourself. Every time you invest in external validation, you invest less in your original creative authentic self. The downside to this reality is that you conform to the rules of how other people want to see you, how they want you to behave, and who they want you to be, in exchange to being loved by those who are not allowing you to truly be your true self, even though they say that they are. Now that is a mind job. The other downside to living this way is that you become reliant on other people to boost your self-esteem, and this gives other people the power to determine your self-esteem and confidence. Others can say one thing about you, and you will get all bent out of shape because you're worried about not meeting up to the standards of others. This fear is what makes you comply with others in a passive manner. Then you are also easily scared when other people give you any indication of not liking you to the point where you play the complacent game, and then you sell yourself short to the point where you have no boundaries, and this is where people take advantage of you because you position yourself to be taken advantage of. These are a few common behaviors and patterns when living this way, and there are many other sabotaging patterns to this that is unhealthy. As you seek validation from others and conform to other people's rules about you, this is you trying to get that sense of self-worth, love, and creative empowerment for yourself. It's just you're doing it incorrectly. The reason why this is incorrect is that you have to be the person that other people will only accept you to be, which is their image of you. And you never really get to experience your creative power and the authentic version of yourself. If this is the case, you have to understand that other people's image of you is not you. And if you conform to please others and be who they want you to be, then that means that you are faking it as you play along, and this will never fulfill you because it is not connected to anything real within you. And here's the worst part. As long as you invest in this behavior, you will always continue to deny your original creative abilities and authentic self, and the harder it gets to resurrect your original creative abilities and authentic self, which is the very thing that will give you the sense of pure internal power. So the problem starts when you are disconnected from your inherent creative abilities and the fact that you've never been taught to understand this psychological fact. Ignorance is not bliss, as it creates blind spots that can ruin your life from poor, unaware choices. If you don't change the situation for yourself, you can live the rest of your life feeling insecure, doubtful, and sad for yourself with an undercurrent of always feeling something is lacking in your life. And something is lacking in your life: your original creative abilities and the authentic version of yourself. So what's the solution? First off, you have to accept that your personal and spiritual development is a lifelong process and that it is not an overnight thing. Nor is there a magical pill to get to the end result while skipping the major steps. If you commit to chasing the next best magical solution and refuse to put in the work, you are fooling yourself. And the reason why you'll be fooling yourself is because you've placed your decisions in the wrong kinds of practices and frameworks that promises great results, and then years later you realize that such practices didn't work. But now you wasted time and money simply because you wanted the magical pill, because the idea of the process will be easy has been sold to you and you bought into it. There are no shortcuts to your life's development. The faster you accept that your personal and spiritual development is a lifelong process and it takes time, the faster you can learn to enjoy the process itself and make realistic choices that leads to better and real results. The trick is not to want to skip the process, but to learn to enjoy the process. Have you ever had the experience where you truly immersed yourself and enjoyed an experience to where 5 hours felt like 1 hour and time seems to fly by? If so, when you was enjoying yourself in that moment, you wasn't looking for shortcuts. You really was present at that moment. If you learn to enjoy your life process just like in those moments, you would enjoy and love your life process and not worried about shortcuts. The other part to this solution, which is the main part, is that regardless whether your inherent creative abilities are suppressed or not, you first have to discover, then develop, access, and utilize your natural talents, gifts, and creative abilities. Then when you have a good grip on them, you bring your creative powers to the table and position yourself as a valuable person as you capitalize on them in world service. Your original creative abilities and the authentic version of yourself will automatically deliver your unique personal values, beliefs, outlook on life, and will give you the power to be your real self around others, increase your self-esteem, build your confidence, and live your life accordingly to what's important to you and not someone else's rules or ideas about you. The authentic version of yourself is pre-built to operate that way automatically. In order to accomplish this development, you have to go through 3 major steps. These 3 major steps has to be put into perspective so that you can psychologically understand and identify the overall framework to know what it takes to successfully execute the development of your original creative self and access your personal power. Personal power starts when you begin to identify what are your inherent talents, gifts, and creative abilities. You need to figure that out for yourself because that is the foundation for developing your power. When you put your talents, gifts, and creative abilities into perspective, you will innately be able to envision and know what you want to do in life. I stress this a lot as this is very important. Your creative abilities is what signals you and awakens your passion that says, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to be this person, and I want to accomplish this and that. You see, like a computer microchip that is designed to give input, it's the inherent creative ability that acts like a microchip that gives input and signals you on what to do in life. This happens because the creative ability seeks to express itself and upgrade its creative performance, which creates the passion for you to live your life. This passion also generates the excitation for life, which is just you wanting to experience and reveal more of your creative power. After you have identified what are your creative abilities, the passion turns on. This passion gives birth to the commitment to be proactive and to follow through your life's evolution as it brings you joy to complete it. When you arrive and reach the need to be proactive, you are ready for step 2. So understand that these are the natural signals to look for that I'm giving you here, so pay attention. Step 2 is when you go out into the world and you find the resources that can help you exercise your identified creative potential and perfect them even more. So for example, if I find that I have a gift of debating and I see what is fair or not, I might take that political class. If I find that I'm more of an artist, I will feel the impulse to take that music or acting class. If my inherent ability is a natural educator, I might take that writing class so that I can write books and teach. If I feel that my inherent creative abilities steer me into being an entrepreneur or an inventor, I might take marketing and corporate classes that will help me develop such creative abilities further. Now, of course, there will be a lot of trials and errors throughout this process. Now, the trial and errors are tricky because most people give up when they experience the errors, thinking that's a form of self-defeat or failure, and that is not the case at all. When you respond in a productive and healthy manner, errors or failures can be used as feedback to see what doesn't work, but simultaneously, it reveals what does work. When you respond this way, you grow to see that failure fine-tunes the scope as it helps narrow down and discover what does work. You see, nature designed our feelings to also act as a troubleshooting tool. For example, your computer has a built-in troubleshooting software. When there is something wrong with your computer, you troubleshoot to fix the problem. Well, on a human experiential level, failure is a built-in software that signals you to troubleshoot. Failure is a built-in emotional device that prompts you to fine-tune the scope to discover what will work. When you learn this about feelings, your emotional development matures and you become a person that feels excited when facing failed results because you know you're getting closer to the successful results. Then after a while, when practicing your creative abilities, you start to feel like you're actually good at something. Now you have a reference point of creative expertise, and a new level of excitement, power, and confidence takes over you. This is the place where you truly start to value yourself. Valuing yourself is only possible when you know that you are creatively good at something and can perform the creative ability out of a drop of a dime to bring joy to the world and solve problems. Once this sense of personal value is turned on, when you get to the point that you know that you are of value, it is here that the emptiness starts to transform from nothing exists inside of me and I'm an empty vessel into I am creatively sufficient and I got something to work with within myself and it feels great to feel creatively alive. You move from one level of I'm not good enough to a new level of I am good enough for the simple fact that your inherent creative abilities, like a microchip giving you input, acting as the foundation that gives you creative power and is good enough to perform in life. Like Windows operating system and all the other creative applications acting as the foundation that allows you to work with your computer, your inherent creative abilities are the built-in creative application systems that allows you to live creatively so that you can perform, live effectively, and be empowered. If you delete your computer's operating system, your computer goes blank, right? Well, that is what produces emptiness because it's blank, and blank means emptiness. The same thing happens on a human level. When you are not connected to your inherent creative abilities, which is your creative operating system, you are blank. No one is home, and not good enough is produced from this blank space. Then by default, your psyche is trying to fill in the empty space in its attempt to get a sense of creative power, but your psyche does it in the form of external approval and validation from others. You do this because you are trying to define yourself through other people's perception about you for the simple fact that your creative abilities are suppressed. You can't see what lies within you to define yourself from the inside out and be your own person. It is your authentic creative powers that gives you the power to define yourself and for you to be your own person. When connected to your creative abilities, not only will you define yourself and creatively perform, live effectively, and be empowered, but you will also access your true personal values, morals, think independently, and understand your personal constitution and what you stand for in life. You will also know your life mission and purpose because your creative abilities define all this for you as it is part of its software. Your creative operating system lays it all out for you automatically. It is your creative abilities that gives you the input to carry out the instructions to live your life. It's your intuitive soul talking to you and giving you directions through creative evolutionary instructions. As you carry out your creative evolutionary instructions and engage with the world, you will have a wonderful time as you surround yourself with like-minded people and share beautiful experience that leads to growth. You will create a new social life and make new friends who will support and inspire each other to grow, and that leads to deeper bonds of all kinds. Now, the last stage of the three, when you have a pretty good grip on your creative expertise, then you are ready for the next step. From here, it's like now you are moving from the classroom and now you perform your creative expertise in the real world in real time. This is when you go out into the world and you actually start to influence the environment with your creative expertise. You actually start to manifest your career as you actually start to help other people in society and contribute. This is you living your purpose and fulfilling your creative evolution. Then after years of contributing to the world and you have perfected this process, you have reached a level of mastery and you have become convinced that you are good at what you do. This is you reaching teacher level as now you can teach others what you know. When you complete and touch that place within you that stems from the completion of your life purpose, this is where you experience a tremendous deep love, joy, and fulfillment for life, and realizing that life is sacred. These are the 3 steps to become empowered and end seeking validation from others. So please watch this video again and again so that you can remember the psychology and the framework to it all. When you study successful people, you can see clearly that these are the steps that they all go through. In fact, these are all the steps that anybody and everybody would have to go through. You may have not noticed it before because no one may have not put it into perspective for you. So I hope this video has helped you by putting it into perspective for you, which was my intention. Okay, my friends, this is the end of this video, and I wanted to keep this video short, but just know that there's so much more for me to share with you. But at least I wanted to answer these 2 questions just so I can get you to start thinking about the situation. Also, just to bring to your attention, I'm currently building a course that talks about this topic in further detail. This course that I'm creating will teach you how to be your real self around others, increase your self-esteem, build your confidence, discover your creative abilities, discover and live your life purpose, and live your life accordingly to what's important to you and not someone else's rules or ideas about you. So if you're interested, click the link below this video and you'll be redirected to a page that will share more information about this course that will teach you how to be authentic by discovering your creative abilities, live your life purpose, and increase your self-esteem and confidence. Once again, my friends, find your inner creative trade. Find your inner creative genius. Pull it out, reveal it, be it, live it, express it, contribute it in world service, and wow yourself from your greatness. Because that is the only way, true, organic way to personal power and living life in your own terms. Once again, I'm Luis Garcia. Good journey to you, and thank you for watching. Hey guys, I'm Luis Garcia. I have a question for you. Did you enjoy this episode? If you did, and if you felt like you got something out of this episode, and if you resonated with this message, there are 4 things you can do right now to continue to support your journey. First, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel right here, which I hope you will, so that I can keep sending you videos that delivers important insights that can make positive changes in your life. Second, if you're watching this video on YouTube and you would like to dive deeper into this knowledge and take your life to the next new level, just click the link below this video and you'll be redirected to my website where you can sign up to receive my free podcast, free webinars, free online courses, free online programs, and receive updates on my events, new podcasts and programs, and everything else we can't do on this YouTube channel. Third, leave a comment below and share how this episode helped you and what are your next steps to improving your life. And lastly, 4, if you know someone that can benefit from hearing this message, remember to share this episode with your friends and family. I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Until then, good journey to you, and I'll see you soon. And once again, I'm Luis Garcia, and thank you for watching.
No.